Right. Perfect. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. I know it's almost sunny Saturday morning wherever you are in the Bay Area or outside the Bay Area. You may be further north like Greg Scott. Let's kick things off. We want to make sure we don't run late like we did during the business meeting, and I know many of you attended that. We want to be able to get going and get started and kind of walk you through the agenda. We're going to do some recognition. Goggenbeer has a brief update, no slides to present, so just really a brief update. We've got a really fun data scavenger hunt, which is going to be very exciting. And then we're going to be spending some time talking about area visits. Julie's going to be running a workshop, and we're going to be having some group discussion on that, on some different topics related to area visits. We're going to dive into some succession planning, hear briefly from our incoming team, and wrap with a little bit of focus on the next 30 days and where we should be putting our minds, our energy, and our efforts. That's the agenda for today's meeting, and I will show the agenda slide a couple more times as we go, as I know some people are just coming in. So, welcome. Let's do some recognition. I want to recognize a couple of really fantastic team members who have been really achieving excellence. The first person that I'd love to recognize is our very first distinguished area director. Dashboards have been updating with distinguished clubs and distinguished areas and distinguished divisions. They may not pop up until mid-May when the dashboards update, but our very first distinguished area director is H19 Area Director Sherrie Jensen. Awesome job, Sherrie. Woo! Fantastic. I want to recognize a couple of people who I think were really instrumental with our elections recently. We put a team together to help with our candidate corner so everybody could learn about our candidates. We had our candidates who were interviewed by the team. I really just want to thank Lisa Fairfield, Steve Today, and Tyree Johnson for helping with that fantastic effort. Awesome job. Venkat, our newsletter editor, has been knocking it out of the park. He was a huge help to get our past newsletter out announcing the winners, really taking a burden off of both Bet and I. And on top of that, doing master classes, running a club newsletter contest. Keep up the fantastic work, Venkat. All right, we had other key players in the business meeting. Lots going on, as you know, with voting and waiting for votes to update, getting ballots out to the right people, and people helping me with chat and what motions to consider, kind of whispering in my ear as we were going. I want to recognize our business meeting technical host, Winglock, and our business meeting parliamentarian, Dennis Dawson. They did a fantastic job. I mentioned master classes earlier, and the person who had been spearheading that effort has been doing a phenomenal job as part of an HPL, a high performance leadership project. And that was their last step towards earning their Distinguished Toastmasters Award. Please help me congratulate Patricia Dessa. Awesome job. And I know we've got more master classes that we're scheduling, really phenomenal work. And some of the master classes and things that we're scheduling are conference workshops. And I really want to give another shout out to our conference co-chairs, James and Zora, who did a phenomenal job putting the program and speakers and everything all together. It is disappointing that we aren't able to meet in person and to run a conference, but they really did a phenomenal, excellent job. So really thank you so much, James and Zora. And last but not least, I want to say the district has been doing phenomenal. The numbers look great. In particular, and you might see this as we get into the scavenger hunt a little bit later, but our district is number 5 in North America, 21st in the world, out of more than almost 120 districts, 21st in the world on membership payments. And that couldn't have been done without the fantastic work of 2 people in their teams, Bill Holsey, our open house chair, and Kevin Powell, our renewals chair. Fantastic. Thank you so much, both of you, for doing a great job. Woo! The teams are all working so hard to get us where we need to be to help our members and our clubs and all of our officers experience excellence. And we still have a little bit more time to go. We've got about 8 weeks left, 9 weeks left in the year. There's so much that we can do with that time. So much that we can accomplish. And I really hope as we go through the rest of the meeting today, you're gonna hear tips, tricks, best practices. You'll have opportunities to share ideas for what you're doing to be successful. You'll have time to ask questions. What can I do in this situation and that? This is really a great opportunity for us all to get together and figure out, what we can do to all experience excellence in the time that's left in the next coming weeks. I think it's going to be a great meeting. And I think before we get into that, things that we need to do to help our members and our clubs to be successful, I really just wanted to invite Goggenbeer to give a quick update on finances and some of the requests that we have of you and the team. So please help me welcome Goggenbeer.
Thank you, Kevin. And good morning, fellow Toastmasters. First of all, congratulations to all division directors and area directors for running a successful speech and evaluation contest. This was a difficult, challenging time, and I know we all did a great job. And a Toastmasters is a place where leaders are born, and it's very true. We did that. So a quick update, and I would like to share my screen and show you something. So Kevin, can you please allow me to share the screen?
Yes, one moment.
Sure.
One moment. All right, give it a go, Goggenbeer.
Thank you. So here I am. Yes. So here I want to show something to all of you, that we had a budget of $75. Oh, let me again. We have a budget of $75 for the district, and for this, oh, you can't see my screen. Oh, it was on. Okay, I can go ahead. I didn't know the numbers. We had a budget of $75 for the area contest, and we had a budget of $150 for the speech contest, for the division speech contest. And now it's time to get your reimbursements claimed. So let me go into the reimbursement slides. Okay, I'm back. So if you see here, the division directors, the ones which are in green has already claimed their expenses. but the ones who are in yellow have not yet claimed their expenses. And the deadline to claim your expenses for the division contest is May 31st. If you had any expenses regarding the division contest, please send the expenses to me. And I know some of you are waiting. You have to mail your medals and the gift certificates to the organizing team. So please go ahead and do it. And I know safety is first, but please mail the medals by the May 31st and claim your expenses. And here we have Division A. I'm looking for Division B, Division C, Division E. So I'm waiting for the expense report from them. And the second one is the area contest. The ones in green have already claimed their expenses. The ones in blue are in conversation with me, so I'll take care of them. I know the information from their side, but the ones in yellow, I'm waiting for the response. Area A2, area A1, B7, B17, C8, D3, D30, E4, E18, E23, F7, F20, F32, G11, and H19. So if you have any expenses regarding your contest, please send your reimbursements. And if you don't have any expenses, just let me know that there were no expenses. And the thing is that if you are not at Concur and you're not comfortable, we can write a check to you. Just let me know. And thank you all. And again, the date to submit your expenses is May 31st. Thank you. Back to Kevin. Any questions?
Thank you, Goggenbeer.
Welcome.
Appreciate that update. A lot less painful in the business meeting. No, it was important that we covered our finances in the business meeting because we have a big district budget. We're spending a lot of money on our members and our clubs, and we want to make sure that we're transparent. So thank you so much, Goggenbeer, for the business meeting, the update today. And yeah, key that we, if you have expenses, get them in. We want to make sure that we follow TI policies, which really is 30 days after an event happens to put the expense in. We're being a little flexible through the pandemic and shelter in place, but we want to make sure that we stay on track. All right. And Sherrie did join us again. Sherrie, our first distinguished area director. Thanks for joining, Sherrie. We appreciate it. Congratulations again.
Woohoo!
Accomplishment.
I wanna thank Lisa Fairchild for lighting a fire under my you-know-what, because she was like, did you get it in? Did you get it in? She only said it twice, but I think that's all I needed. So yeah, thank you.
Awesome. All right. I'm now gonna I threw the agenda up so people could see kind of what's coming next. We're gonna move on to our data scavenger hunt, which is being led by our district statistician, George. George, I think, has been our district statistician for at least 4 or 5 years. I don't know how many years, George, but he's been helping us a lot. He has a fantastic website called George Marshall TM Tools, where you can do a ton of reports and analysis. He's the right man to run this. Everybody, please help me welcome George.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Yes, I am known internationally as the Toastmaster Data Dude. I do other things too, but I'm just the data dude. Anyway, what we've got for you, Kevin and I cooked up this idea to show you, remind you how to find some of the information you're going to need as you area directors and division directors, as you close in on the last few weeks here of the year. You're going to want to be checking up on your clubs, seeing how they're doing, see which ones maybe need just a little bit more help, a little more, as Sherrie said, maybe you need to light a fire under there, wherever you light fires. Anyway, so what I've got for you is a few questions to answer, and every one of these and relate to information that an area or division director is going to want to need. Kevin's nodding his head because he wrote most of the questions. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to have a little contest where I'm going to send you a form with a series of questions in it. I'm also going to put it in the chat box for you. And you will need to go use the Toastmaster reports to get these answers. It's just a couple in the DCP category and the area recognition area and some of the other data we have. And to make it more fun, there's going to be some recognition. Kevin, what do we have for our winners?
I've got a couple of really great prizes, and I'm gonna show what the prizes are while people are filling out. So I'm gonna incentivize people to as they're going.
Okay, before we get started, let's do one quick thing. I'll just start you on the dashboard just to remind you how to get where we want to go. Let's see. I'm not going to do that just yet.
I'm there.
All right. Okay, now we're going to do it. All right, so I'm going to share screen. And this is the home page of the dashboard. Write that down, dashboards.toastmasters.org. This is where we start for any of the official and open data that Toastmasters makes available. Now today, we're only interested in one district. As Kevin likes to tell us, we're doing very well compared to the districts around the world. And so he spends a lot of time looking at all the districts. We just want to look at one. We're at the dashboard homepage. How might we get to District 57? Well, there's two ways. You see this drop-down box on the upper left? I can drop it down. It shows me a list of districts, and I can pick 57. But I'm a lazy guy, so I'm just going to look here in Region 1, and I'm going to see District 57. And it's going to think about it for a second or two, and then it's going to bring up our district. Just a reminder, there's three parts to the dashboard here. I'm looking at the three tabs nearly along the top. You can always check here to see that you're in the latest date. Let's use May 1. We've got club performance. This is DCP. Toastmasters calls it club performance. You and I know it as DCP. This is where we can scroll down and see that familiar list. What's the club's membership base? What's their membership today? How many goals do they have? Are they distinguished or not? We scroll down here, see the little S besides Windmaster that says they've attained select distinguished. If there's no little letter out to the side, the club is not yet distinguished, or perhaps the numbers have been turned in, but it'll take a day or two to be recognized. So that's any question about club performance, DCP, members, goals, you're going to find on the club performance tab. The division and area tab right here relates to, gosh, divisions and areas. This is where you're going to look to see things like, are your renewals in? Have you been credited for all of the club visits you made? Is your area distinguished? Is your division distinguished? What would it take to get there? And then finally, the third type of information over here on the left, in this list of items over here on the left, we have daily reports. Why they call it daily reports, I do not know, but it's a different set of material. This is where we can find things like new clubs. What new clubs do we have in the district? 3 of them. We'd like a lot more, but that's what we've got so far. New club sponsors and mentors. The list of which clubs have a sponsor, mentor, and who those people are. As well as things like that more members might want educational achievements. right here in Educational Achievements current year, not Educational Achievements Archive, that's past years, where you can look here and find what awards have been issued. Here's a tip to remind you. In this report, and in fact, in all the daily reports, you can click on a header and it will sort by that list. So for example, it is right now is it's sorted by club number, lowest to highest. Let's say I want to sort it by club name in alphabetical order. I would click on name. And you do it once and it sorts in reverse order. You do it again, it sorts in forward order. This works for everything. It worked for division, area, types of awards, everything. Okay, we got all that? So right now, let's start the data scavenger hunt. A few minutes ago, I sent to your, let's unshare here. I sent to everyone's email. I hope I got everyone. I sent the quiz. So it's an email that you follow a link to get to a set of questions. You may have to refresh your email. You may have to look in the spam bucket. Also, just now, I put into the chat box, if you don't know how to get to the chat box, look at the very bottom middle of your screen, the little dialog button that says chat. Click on that, and you can find the link to the questionnaire a different way. So everyone got the idea? You're going to answer the questions. It'll first ask you who you are, what your position is, and then you go through and you try to answer the questions. At the end of it, you click on send it or submit it, and it'll go in, and Kevin will be watching for the answers. Ready, set, go. And again, there are prizes for the first folks to respond, and I think we go down a couple.
Can we play some music, Kevin? There we go.
Right on cue.
If you're having any technical difficulties, you can use chat or just speak up.
Kate says, having trouble keeping the form and toggling. You do not need to kill off the Zoom box. For example, on Windows, you can use the start button or click on the buttons along the bottom if you have them that way. And you can bring up a new window, browser window, whatever your favorite browser is, paste the thing in there and go at it that way. Or you can wait till you poke and refresh your email and click on the link that way to get it to go. Okay, here's what you're all looking for. You're looking to get to a page that starts out with the logo, District 57 Data Scavenger Hunt. Ask for your email, your position, and then the first question is, how many more members does Stagecoach Warriors Club need to become distinguished? Everyone got that?
We can't get to our form with your share. Unshare.
So what you need to do is click escape so it gets zoom out of full screen mode. Hit escape.
Yeah, you need to get on your computer.
Hit on your keyboard. Hit escape.
Bring up a separate browser window to work on these.
And George, how do you find out about how many more payments they need. I was looking on the dashboard and I didn't see. Is it on the dashboard they're looking for that?
If you're already to the question about the date of the dashboard or the date of the payment, that's in daily reports.
11020.
Oh, in daily reports.
Yes. Why do you think I showed you daily reports?
Ah, okay. And then in daily.
Ed, pipe down. You're giving away answers.
Okay. Okay.
It's a fierce competition, guys.
Yes. So you're going to use a couple of 3 of those reports in daily reports, as well as 2 of the reports in the numeric dashboard.
Okay, but this one does it by clubs, not
You can
by.
resort. You can resort.
Remember, I said you can click on any header at the top of the daily reports, and it will sort it a different way. If you're familiar with your browser search tool, usually a Control F, you can also just sometimes jump to the right club or the right place.
All right, 7 more minutes to go. One of our
Very
beautiful
confusing.
prizes is this beautiful Toastmasters tumbler.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. One of my favorite Toastmaster gifts.
The adrenaline is high, guys. The adrenaline is high.
Yes.
I wish our dashboard was a lot better, like faster. Very slow.
This is what I deal with all the time. I've sent a million suggestions to Toastmasters to make it better. Sometimes they implement them, sometimes they don't.
Say that again on the paid club. What report we need to go to?
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you.
Let's see. The question with regard to how many paid club more do we need to have?
How many more paid clubs? That's going to be on the division area report.
Okay.
How do you find dates that things happened? There's a couple of date questions.
Sounds like a daily report. Just, I hope I'm not giving anything away. Anything that's got a date, I would guess it's a daily report.
All right, 4 more minutes to go. And I have a gorgeous, I mean, just look at this squishiness right here. I have this gorgeous notebook that says Toastmasters International. Lots of pages to write, lots of things down about your club meetings. More
All right.
come.
All right, I finished mine.
All right, we've got 1 minute left. Don't worry if you don't get everything. We weren't expecting everybody to get every answer. 1 minute left to maybe win a beautiful Toastmasters International ball cap.
Keep the sun off this summer. So I think this is a fun way to learn versus a lecture. Bum, 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 bum.
All right, everyone. Let's wrap it up. Put your pencils down. Put your HB5 pencils down. You can submit what you have. As I said, we didn't think everybody would get every answer. Submit what you have. And George, you can pick things up when you're ready.
All right. So what I'll do is to just familiarize everyone and help those who didn't get everything. I'm going to go through a few of them. Kevin, whenever we hit our time limit on this section, please go ahead and break back in. So what I'm going to do is go through a few of the questions. So first question here, how many more members does Stagecoach Warrior need to become distinguished? So what am I being asked? I'm being asked for a particular club, how many members to be distinguished. That says it's going to be in the club performance area. So we go to district performance, and here I've already jumped over to district 57. They're asking about a particular club, so I'll go to club performance. And the question was regard to Stagecoach Warriors. Now, most of these, I put the club near the top, but you could always use your browser function to serve for it. So here's Stagecoach Warriors right here in Division A1. The question was, how many more members do they need to be distinguished? They have 20 now. How many members do they have to be distinguished? It's either
20
by June 30th, either 20 or for clubs that started with a smaller amount, a net gain of 5. They've got 20. They started with 20. They have 17. They need 3 more members. 3 more members. Got that? So that one would be 3. Second question, how many more DCP points does GenoMasters need to become select? So it's still about DCP, it's still about distinguished, so we're still going to be on the club performance report. So we're asking about GenoMasters Club. Again, I'm going to start with club performance right here. And since I sneakily put them near the top, we don't have to go very far to find GenoMasters. We could have looked it up. Now, they've already got all the members they need. 33. Fantastic.
Wow.
How many goals do they have to have? So they've made distinguished, right? How many goals do they have to be select distinguished?
2 more.
2 more. Now, let me show you a shortcut. So those of you that have not yet memorized the Distinguished Club program, there's a trick to get more data. If I go over here and I click on the name or number of the club, what I get is a report that is specific just to that club. So you've gone from looking at the entire district to just that club. And now it's going to spell it out for us. We say they base of 20, they have 33 right now. They've met goals. They've met 5 goals. They would need 7 for select and 9 for distinguished. So it's laying out for you. And in fact, if you're curious how well they did, it even tells you how they did on each of the goals and where they got their points. So that's quite a bit of a help when you're trying to figure out about a club and you can't quite remember the details. Let's take one more. So we said they had 5, they need 7, so that's 2 more. They didn't complain on me. On what date this year was a new club chartered in Division A? This is, you might call this a tricky one because there's 2 different ways to get the answer, but the one I was looking for is to remain in the distinguished, in the numeric part of the dashboard. So we're looking for a new club that was chartered in Division A, and we want a date. Let's go back to club performance. This is about a division, not about an individual club. Well, it's sort of about it. So we're going to go to the division and area performance. Now, I made it easy by saying which in Division A. So let's just go down and look. Here's an odd little thing. When a club is chartered, they make a note of it in the division area. So when Tarshan's was chartered on 1/1/20, you can also get this information in daily reports, but that's not what we're looking for. Got that? So anything, by the way, it will also show suspends. If a club is suspended during the year, that will show up in the division and area report as well. So that was 1, 10, 20. Okay, how are we doing here? Kevin, how much time we have left?
Keep going, George. We got time.
All right, great. Next question. How many more paid clubs does Area A2 need to become President's Distinguished? Okay, this question is about an area, A2, not about an individual club. So we're going to go back to the division and area report and go down to A2. So I'm still in the division and area report. Most of these, again, are near the top. So A2, so we want to know how many more paid clubs does A2 need to be President's Distinguished? Well, here's A2. Now, the neat thing about this one is for each division and each area, the section over on the right summarizes not only where it currently stands, A2 currently has 5 clubs, but just above it, you see the little D, S, and P. That's the number of paid clubs it needs to be distinguished, select, or president.
Oh.
And the reason it's separate for each area is because areas have different numbers of clubs, that's a different number. So for example, if you look just above it on A2, they've only got 4 clubs. So distinguished is 4, select is 4, president is 5. But for A2, we have 5 clubs. So distinguished is 5, select is 5, and president is 6. So the question was, how many more clubs do they need?
1.
They've got 5, but they want to be presidents. What do they need?
1.
Right, they need to have 6 paid clubs. So that would be 1 more. We put a 1 in there. Ta-da! Now we're going to switch up a little different. We're still going to be talking about divisions and areas. So how many total, notice this is not how many more, this is how many total paid clubs does Division B need in order to be President's Distinguished? Yes, every year, several clubs, several areas, several divisions make President's Distinguished. How many total paid clubs does Division B need to be President's Distinguished? Let's go look. So we're not Division A, we're going to scroll down to Division B. And again, we're going to take advantage of the little cheat sheet right at the top beside the division. Question one more time, how many total paid clubs? There's multiple criteria, but we care about paid clubs. How many paid clubs do they have right now? 18. We see that right here. How many clubs, paid clubs, would it need to be president distinguished? Well, just beside the little P is at 21, so it's 21. Now, why do we say paid clubs? It's not enough to have a club. They've got to have at least 8 paid members. A club that's in the process of failing and is down to 3 or 4 members is not going to count. So they have 18. They would get to 2021 if they want to be president distinguished. So we look here and say 18, 19, 20, 21. Gosh, let's try 21. Now let's switch gears. How many total May club visits have to be submitted for H19 to be distinguished? Now, for you area directors, it doesn't say how many visits did you make. It says how many club visit reports did you submit. It doesn't do any good to do them if you don't tell the world about them, in particular if you don't tell Kevin and Toastmasters about them. So our question here is about an area, H19. So let's go look. Total May club visits. Now here I've got to scroll on down to Division H. By the way, a little trick here if you want to clean up your screen, you click on the little down arrow next to a division and you collapse it so it doesn't show up in your reports. For H, we'll just scroll on down, but that is a technique to just kind of clean up the screen, particularly for a screen capture, maybe you might want to do that. H19, where are we go? Okay, so here's H19. Our question was, how many total May club visits must be submitted to be distinguished? So, paid clubs, here we have renewals, here we have club visits. In November in H19, all 4 were submitted. In May, so far, at least according to Toastmasters records, we have 2 submitted and 2 to go. How many club visits have to be submitted each season to qualify for a distinguished area? 3/4 of them. You must submit 3/4, rounding up, sorry for those with odd numbers. So we've got 2 more to go. We only need 3/4 of 4, which is 3. So this area will be distinguished when that 3rd visit report hits Toastmasters. I think H19 was mentioned this morning, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, it was. And I've actually I did all 4 of them already. I just need to upload them. So.
What did we say about actually submitting them? Yes.
Well, you have to do them first. I could submit a blank one if you want, but that's no good either.
But they actually they do have 3 in.
Yeah.
The dashboard is not yet showing it.
Oracle is in.
Yeah.
Yep. This is Saturday. Toastmasters headquarters tends to stop processing much data. You don't see much changes in the dashboard over the weekend. You also don't see much changes in the dashboard between the 1st of the month and when the month closes. So don't worry about that. So someone may have submitted an award, let's say on the 1st or 2nd or 3rd or 5th, and you can see it in the award report, but it won't show up in DCP until the month closes. It's a little oddity of the dashboard. Next question. What day was San Leandro 452's club officer list submitted? And we're looking at the most recent, the July data. No, it's not the most recent. We'll use it anyway. So this is a question about an officer list submitted a particular day. We're not going to get that from the numeric dashboard reports. We're going to get that from the daily reports. So let's go to the daily reports and we're going to look for club officer list July. So now I'm switching. Remember, we find the daily reports by going over the left over here and down. Now we want July club officer list status. So I think I'm going to go on that one right there. And which club did we say we wanted? We wanted San Leandro 452. Again, we picked one that's near the top. There's San Leandro 452. What day was the list submitted? June 27, 2019. So they made the deadline last year. June 27, 2019. It's too late to submit officer reports now. They needed to have gone in already. Here's another one related to that. What day did Oakland 88, one of our strong clubs, submit 8 or more renewals for the April dues? This is a key number. When you've got a club that is not in good standing until they have 8 or more renewals, 8 or more paid members. So let's look at renewals for April. And I'm going to find this in the daily reports again. Oakland 88, April dues. So here we are in the daily reports. You can see this funny format. And let's go look for April dues renewal status. Oakland 88, oh my goodness, they're right there at the top. Again, if they had not been at the top, I could have clicked on the name in any order to get it. I'm going to go back to by club. So I see that it's February 27, 2020, 2/27/2020. Two, 2/7/202. So you're beginning at the feel for where you get the data. This data is all public. You don't have, have to have a district login, but you can. Another question, who is a club coach? This comes up a couple of ways. You see a club that's struggling, they don't have that many members. You want to see if you can get a coach assigned or see if they will accept a coach. Well, gosh, I don't know, maybe they already have a coach. So who's the club coach for Top of the Hill 3137? That's going to be an update report. We want club coaches. I look around here and I find it right there on club coaches. I click on it. And we wanted, check again, we wanted Top of the Hill 3137. No, not that one.
2-minute warning, George.
Okay, thank you. Top of the Hill. There's 2 Top of the Hill. We have 1 coach assigned, Cynthia Yeh. So we would go back here and type in Yeh. All right, I think I'll cut it off there. And tell you what, so since we want to get on things, you can always email me and ask more questions. As your district statistician and data dude, I am always available to answer your questions. Anything from basics like remind me how a club gets distinguished to any of these other things. So, Kevin, I'll turn it back to you now.
Thank you, George. Great job, everyone, and thank you, George. So, we didn't expect everybody to know where to find everything. We were trying to make sure you knew where to find the information that you would need to really set your clubs and your members and yourself up for success through the rest of the year. I think as Bet mentioned in chat, we planned to do this a couple of DECMs ago, but it kept getting pushed for one reason or another. But we wanted to make sure that you had it going into this final stretch. And I know Bet's gonna schedule and do this training earlier in the year going into next year. We do have some winners, so I'm gonna announce some winners right now. We're gonna go announce some winners. All right. So among our division directors, we have Juro in first place and Hans in second place. Woo! Great job, both of you. Awesome job. And we have area directors as well. We have in first place Marissa and in second place Garrett.
Yay!
Awesome job. All right, and we also have a fantastic supporting team of chairs and their team members who help us day in, day out. We have Janice in first place and Ed in second place. Congratulations, both of you. I will email each of you about the prizes and we'll figure out how we get them to you offline. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you had fun. And guess what? We're right on time. We're right on time. Okay. So why don't we take, if anybody needs to take a break, we'll take a quick, 2-3 minute break. And I'm going to have Julie Garrett kick off our area visits workshop at 10:02 a.m. So we've got a 2-3 minute break. If anybody needs to hop off to refill their coffee or a snack or a bio break. Okay. And if anybody has questions for George or the team, we'll stick around on chat. All right, so just stand by, Julie, for just a couple minutes. All right. Steve, I did get your question. Steve had a couple of good questions, and I'm going to read them out loud and answer them. So Steve had a question. So if you have members who belong to more than one club, how do you figure out what membership awards go to which club? Good question. It typically comes down to if the person does a speech in one particular club, that VPE should be saying, okay, we're going to submit it for this club, right? Because it's what the VPE submits. And really, it should be the member should be communicating with the VPE to make sure that award is submitted properly to the right club. All right, so and then the other question was, if you are coaching a club and you're actively participating, yes, you can definitely join the club. And if you're actively participating, the club can absolutely submit the speeches and the awards that you're doing, and that will go towards the club. Okay, so yeah, if you're actively participating with the club that you're coaching, definitely go ahead. All right. All right, so those were a couple of good questions from Steve that I wanted to share with everyone. And we are at 10:03, right on time. I'm going to hand things over now to Julie Garrett, who's going to dive into a little workshop on area club visits, because those visits are due when? I'm getting good at reading lips. Robin Crawford said May 31st. I could read her lips. I think Ron said it too. Even through the fog, I saw that as well. All right. A skill that you learn through online meetings. All right, Julie, take us away because area visits are due soon.
Okay. So I'm going to share a screen here. And okay. So the first thing you need to do for your area visit is to plan the visit. How do you do that? How do you choose which club to visit? We're in the home stretch, so you want to make sure that the clubs that are having the most challenges are the ones you visit first, so that we have the most time to be able to work with that club to help them overcome their challenges. What's a good way to figure out which club needs the help the most? We have a couple of reports, and I know how you all love reports. So we're going to dive into one that I know you've seen before, the dashboard. And I am going to clean this up a little bit just to get down to a particular division because this is my home division. Now, I would say for Division C, Area C8, which club do you think needs attention first? There are a couple metrics you can use here to see. And first one would be membership, and second one would be goals. Now, if I was the Area C8 director, I would probably want to contact Wine Country Toastmasters first because they look like they do need some help in regards to membership and completing those goals. You could also use this handy tool set up by the district called the Club Health Tracker. And hopefully you have all been on the Health Tracker to update your clubs. And here's something interesting about the club I just mentioned. This club meets at the Veterans Home of Yountville, closed to non-residents right now, and has, not mentioned on here, but I have personal knowledge on this one, has a high percentage of senior citizens without computer access. We still want to give this club a call to see what we can do, if anything, to help them out. Second club you might want to look at, maybe California Maritime, which is at 8 members. They are a club in good standing. They have 5 of the goals met. How can we get them to distinguished? This would be something else that you would want to look at early so that we can help them out. So now you've planned your club visit. You've talked to the Vice President of Education to set up that visit and asked for a speaking slot if needed. All went well. You attended the club. You have major notes. Now comes phase 2. Meet with the club officers afterwards to fill in any missing details. Doesn't have to be right after the club meeting, but should be within a day or 2. You need to find out who is winning awards, or earning awards, I should say, and what the timeline is on that. Do we have anyone that is set to earn that award by the end of the month? We want to know that. We want to be able to encourage the members of that club to get those in. And most importantly, we want to identify the leaders of that club. Maybe not for this coming year, but for the next year. We want to know who we can help mentor in that process and get them ready for those leadership roles. And the most important question, and I don't think I was ever asked this in all my time as a club officer by one of our area directors. How are you? 3 simple words. Let's get a temperature check on not just the club, but on the club officers. How are they doing? Are they overwhelmed? Are they facing challenges that are affecting their jobs with the club? How can we support them? We also want to know, well, you should already know this part, is are they meeting virtually? There are a few lucky clubs that can meet in person. They have a small enough membership and a large enough venue that is still open that they can do the social distancing and masks and still be able to meet in person. I don't know of any of those in our district, but I have seen on the Facebook group that there are some clubs out there that can do this. We need to know that. And if we're not seeing record of them meeting virtually, is that because they're using their own Zoom accounts? Some clubs have their own Zoom accounts. Some clubs have members with an account through work or Zoom or WebEx or some other video conferencing service. And for most of the clubs in the division I'm from, most of those clubs have their 8 paid members. But how is the club collecting the dues? Could they have more than 8 members if they had an electronic payment system? Some clubs are still getting checks mailed into them, and some of those checks may have been mailed prior to April 30th, but not received yet or not deposited yet. And an electronic payment service could really help with that, but maybe they're not up to date on those services. I'm going to stop the screen share for just a moment. And what I want to ask, based off of what we've gone over already, maybe I didn't bring up the best solution for choosing the club that you visit first. Or maybe I didn't bring up the best questions for bringing up, for asking the club. So I want to hear from our area directors and our division directors, how would you determine the first club to visit? And you can answer that in the chat. Let's see if anybody has a better answer than I had. I'm hoping somebody has a better answer. I love it when people have better answers than I have.
This is Lisa. I wouldn't say I have a better answer, but I have another answer. And so I would say a couple things. One, it depends on for me, what time of the year and what's going on, where I want to focus my attention. But some of the equation for me would be what I know about the club and how open they are to having help. Because I'm not one that believes that I'm going to do CPR in a club that has a DNR. So I want to know where is the best time for myself as a division director and the area directors to spend their time, that it's going to be received well, and clubs that they're hungry for it.
Thank you, Lisa. That's a great response to it. I also have comment from Kate. The question is not which to visit first, but which to visit more frequently if needed. That's a great response as well.
Julie, I got a message from Robin Crawford. According to their schedule, sometimes you may not be able to visit a club at a certain day or time because it just doesn't work for your schedule. So you may have to do a meeting swap, right?
Yes. Okay, let's go back to the shared screen. Okay, so the next question, how do you plan to collect outstanding renewals? Now, like I said, an electronic payment service is the best, but do you know of any clubs that are facing a challenge in getting those dues paid other than financial on their membership part? Because that is going to be a big component, and we know that, but we want to make sure that for those that can pay their dues, that we're not putting a challenge out there to them to get us the money. Does anyone know of anyone having a challenge with an electronic payment service? Because I know a lot of clubs that are using them and can mentor them through that. Okay. I don't see anything there. Kevin, do you see anything in the chat? As I'm sharing the screen, I can't see the chat box.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in chat, and we did put together that blog on the website, on our District 57 website, on how to collect dues while you're sheltered in place. So that could be a good resource if some clubs are struggling with how to collect renewals. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later too.
Okay, so maybe your club hasn't started with the virtual meeting yet. That's not really a problem. We just need to contact them and find out what the issue is. Is it because they don't have an account, or because they've decided to not have meetings until they can do them in person? But we won't know why until we call and make that call and ask, or email. So maybe the district doesn't have record of the virtual meetings because they're not using the district's Zoom account. That's fine. We're okay with that. We just want to know if that's what's going on. It could be because a club member has a Zoom account. The club may be paying for a Zoom account. It's only $14 a month. For some clubs, that's less than what they were paying for their venue. I know in my case, it's less than what one of my clubs was paying for their venue. But if they need a Zoom account, the district has a Zoom account, or will get a Zoom account for them. All they need to do is email info@d57tm.org and provide the club name, meeting day, time, and frequency. Pretty easy, actually, to get that set up. They may need some tutoring on Zoom. Not a problem. We have that too. We have a lot of resources actually available online at the d57tm.org, and Toastmasters actually has some resources out there as well. So there's no shortage of that. All they have to do is ask that question that they may not know to ask until you bring it up. All right. So our club visits are really a health check. And keeping that in mind, we do have the club health check tracker. And this is a very important report. It's also a live report, which you should have all received access to. If you did not, you can email Bet or Kevin, either one I'm sure can give you access to this report. But this is great because we have it in one spot for the district to be able to go in and look and see what the meeting status is of these clubs. Are they meeting? How are they meeting? Their renewal status. And I see that there are chats going on while I am in the share screen. I can't actually read those chats. Kevin, is there anything that I need to address?
Yeah, so one of our members, somebody had a question while we're online right now, and what if our club gets a new member? We have a guest that becomes a member. How do we register that new member?
Nothing has changed. You can actually, there are some, there's an online application that can be filled out. There is you can use a fillable PDF on that and a verified signature. If you need assistance with that, district is here to help you. We can actually provide you with resources on that as well. But literally the process has not changed. You still need the application. And then you just process it the way you did before when it was in person.
That's right. Julia, there was another question. So we know it's been a challenging time for a lot of people, right? It's not just sheltering in place and, not being able to connect socially with people as we used to. I mean, we also know, some of our members have also maybe been furloughed or lost their jobs. And so, and this has come up a lot, right? It's, what can we do to help members who are kind of in some financial hardship? Maybe renewing and paying dues is a lot less important than other things in life right now. So, what can clubs do to kind of support their members that are in financial hardship? Can clubs pay the dues of members? How does that work?
A member can pay for another member, just not a club officer. And the club itself cannot pay the dues for the member. I'm going to throw this out there to see if anyone has experienced this. I myself am furloughed. However, I was able to pay my dues prior to that. So I do understand that what the challenges are, and my rent is always going to come before Toastmasters. But let's throw this out there. And does anyone have a good suggestion for this? Maybe something that's already been done in one of their clubs in this case. And I'm going to stop the shared screen just so I can read the chat box as well.
Ooh, Michelle asked a fantastic question related to this. Are there any scholarships available? There are. So there's the Ralph Smedley Fund, which is, it's not funded by Toastmasters National. It's donations from members and individuals who are facing financial hardship can apply to get funds from that scholarship to help pay for dues. So that is certainly an option and is available. So that was a really good question, Michelle, and we'll get the link for that as well to make sure that our members have that. The only other thing I'd follow up on, Julie, and I have gotten this question a couple times, is, well, can a club pay dues for a member? So the answer is no. All right, club funds are not meant to be used to pay member payments. All right, and here's why. We don't want clubs spending the dues of their members to renew their members, because it may be construed as, well, you're paying for people who maybe aren't coming to meetings, You're paying so that the club can reach distinguished.
Mhm.
That's what it's getting at. So that's why the rule's in place, right? We want to be spending the money on the club, on the educational development of the members. We want to make sure that people can attend if they're able to attend. So we do have funds, scholarship funds like the Ralph Smedley Fund available. And certainly if an individual feels that, and not a district officer paying for another member, right? But like if somebody says, hey, this person's going through on hard times, I want to help them out, you can do that. But you can't expect to be paid back either, right? Once it's paid, it's paid. So that's the other thing that we've seen too. We've seen some clubs say, well, we'll pay for your dues now, you'll pay us later. And there's been situations around the world where people haven't done that, right? So now the club has kind of paid for these dues and they haven't, gotten the money back. So those are some of the reasons why club funds should not be used to pay for members. And I think important point to really talk about and be sensitive to.
So we can go back
Can
to
I want to point out one very critical thing. Area directors absolutely cannot pay for members.
Right.
Absolutely, it's a violation of our integrity, because then you're basically paying to get your clubs distinguished, which then just makes it whoever's the richest area director wins, right? And that's not what we're trying to do here. So I just really, really want to remind everyone that district funds can never be used, or area director like personal accounts cannot be used to pay for any members. Is that really, really clear to any? Does anyone have any kind of questions about that?
Can a member pay? Maybe you've already said that. A member give money to somebody, pay for somebody, for some other members.
So a member, or just a normal member, can pay with their own money if it's like their friend who's just lost their job and their friend really needs, like it has to be a personal thing that they're just doing this for themselves. Yeah, and so even if an officer wants to pay for another member, they cannot use club funds. There's no intermingling of the money. So this is something that is really, really critical. So Mark, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So if your cousin wants to join Toastmasters and they really, really are, they just graduated, they're very poor, they're like really starting out in their career, and you give them a gift as a member, not as a club officer, as one of our area directors, you should probably just not pay for anyone as an area director ever, or division director, or any of the trio. Just want to say it really clearly, never pay for anybody. But if you were just a normal member and you wanted to gift your cousin who you love very much, that's possibly okay, but I would just try to stay away from it completely.
Yeah.
So an area director, this question about the area director, when I was an area director, I don't think I joined, I think maybe I joined one of my clubs, but it was because I actually really liked it and I was going to meetings. Don't join clubs just because you're trying to help them with their DCP points, because it's not a numbers game. You're there to be a real member, to give evaluations, to help the club. You fill out that club application form because it's got a membership promise. And if you're not going to fulfill that promise, don't join the club. Kevin, you were going to add something?
Yeah, and it filters up to the district level too, right? I mean, one of the district's goals is number of membership payments. I could join 10 clubs. If we needed 10 payments for the district to be distinguished, I could just join 10 clubs. But if I'm not attending those 10 clubs, I'm really just buying recognition, which is not the point of the program and what we do. So,
good conversation.
Yes, not the happiest of conversations either, but it has come up. I've been asked multiple times by people, and I think people kind of get that there's sensitivity, right, to the topic, given everything that we've kind of gone through this year. So it's good to just talk about it openly and honestly, right?
Yep, and area directors and club coaches, both of them should never pay for dues for any member, because that's automatically helping them get their awards. So anytime, then it makes it, whoever's the richest person then can have more of an advantage over other people, which is completely not what we're trying to do. All right.
Let's move on. I think we've covered it. And if you have questions, you can email Bet or I or Julie. We're happy to answer them. Julie.
Okay. Well, just wanted to reiterate, we have tools. We have this, everybody, all area directors should go in and update the information on the club health tracker. Keep up with your clubs on the dashboard. And don't forget, how is your club? How are your members doing? Are very important questions. And this will give us a better health check than the stats will, and will give us a better idea of how we can help these clubs, and do it as soon as possible so that we have as much time as possible to be able to assist with the clubs. And if you do have any questions, you can email me, Bet, or Kevin. I'm at julie@d57tm.org. That's bet@dm57tm.org. And Kevin's at kevin@d57tm.org. There's a little theme there. I hope you all noticed. I'm going to turn this back over to you, Kevin.
All right. Thank you, Julie, so much. Thank you. All right. So yeah, just to really recap, how are you doing? We really need to be leading with empathy. Not everybody is fortunate where everything's still perfect and hasn't changed for them. Some people are really struggling in lots of different ways that we can't all know and expect and anticipate. So lead with empathy as you're reaching out to your clubs and scheduling visits and finding out what's going on with the club. We need to be open and understanding, right? Not forceful. Why aren't you doing these things to become distinguished? That is the wrong tone. The wrong tone right now. And I kind of just wanted to open up a little bit of some broader discussion on really some of these different areas. And let me just kind of share what some of those areas are. So wanted to talk a little bit about renewals and open houses and online meetings and pathways, incentives and club officer elections. These are all things that you're thinking about and really asking about as you're conducting your area visits. And so I just wanted to kind of have a conversation about some of these and kind of hear, any questions, ideas, or concerns that, the group might have about some of them. And so I really want to kick things off with renewals. And Kevin Powell, our renewals chair. Kevin, I don't think you're on. If you are, shout out. I didn't see you on the list. That's fine. He's busy with his family. So renewals. We kick things off on February 3rd. Renewals opened on February 3rd, 3 months ago. Renewals opened 3 months ago. And we have been pushing and encouraging and asking people to renew. You saw that during our TLIs where we asked club officers to renew first, lead the way. We did direct mail campaigns. We were physically mailing people, asking them to renew. We did phone blitzes. We've sent emails to club officers. We've sent emails to individual members. The team's done a lot. And I know they recently, a couple people have told us like it's enough, because people have been followed up with multiple times and it's starting to get a little pushy. Maybe we're a little tone deaf. And that is true, right? I think, we've gotten to the point where the team is pushed enough. And so really through the rest of the year, it's, we're not looking at the renewals team to be taking the ball to the goal, taking it to the end zone. It's really up to you as area directors and division directors to work with your club officers and your clubs to see how they're doing, to see what, if there's any help we can provide to help with the renewals process. All right. So the renewals team, they've done a fantastic job, but it's really that relationship that you've built with your clubs that we hope will get us through the rest of the year and help our clubs with renewals. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from the team about renewals?
Well, again,
that's fair, right? Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, like I said, the biggest concern obviously I have is some of the clubs who don't want to meet online, and their membership is what it is, and tough to get it to grow if they're already not meeting.
Yeah, that's a good question. So we can go a little bit out of order. I think that's totally reasonable. So, it's kind of interesting. I've heard different reasons for why people don't want to meet online. I've heard from some people, I don't understand the technology. I don't know how, I can't get my computer to work or my tablet to work. So that's one reason why people say, well, I can't, I can't meet online. It's kind of interesting, we have some people on our Zoom today, they literally just phoned in. They're not using a Zoom app or anything like that. They literally just dialed the phone number and input the meeting code, and they're listening in and they can participate. So as I think about online meetings, it could just be, some people have their video cameras on, but it could be some people just phoning and listening in and unmuting to talk. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no rule that says they need to have their camera on. So I think, if it's technology is an issue, I think we can really, there might be ways to kind of simplify that out, Mark, where we can kind of, set proper expectations on online meetings. Is that helpful, Mark, to as you kind of think about, if clubs aren't meeting online, why should members renew? Is that helpful?
Yeah, it's helpful. I mean, it's helpful.
Now, the other reason I've heard some people don't want to meet online is I think they want to, but they may also be a little embarrassed because like, well, I don't know how to get my computer to work. It's like, I want to do it, but I don't want to be that person who's, everybody thinks I'm the technosaur now. They're kind of embarrassed by it. And so we're trying to put more, I think Beth's working on some resources, and we're trying to do some webinars and put together more information about online meetings and how simple it can be. Beth, is there anything you might want to comment or say further on that?
So we have a webinar coming up, and I don't remember exactly the date, but Linda is doing it. Linda, probably you remember what date it is. We're doing a masterclass on using Zoom. I don't know if she's still on.
I do. It's May 11th at noon.
All right, Awesome. May 11th at noon. So she's going to share a lot of best practices around using Zoom. I've also been putting out videos on best practices for club meetings. And I have another one coming out around officer roles coming soon, and another one about how to onboard new members. We're also going to be publishing an article soon about new member orientation virtually. So we're trying to put together materials, but you guys probably also have a lot of good ideas. So send them over to me, Venkat, and we can try to get those on the website. I don't have anything else, Kevin.
That's perfect. Thanks, Bet.
Thanks.
One of the tactics that I've used that has worked is asking members, people that are reluctant to start their own online meeting for their club, convincing them to visit a neighboring club's online meeting. Sometimes it's about visualization. They just don't understand what it looks like and how it can be done well. And when they see it, then the picture comes together for them. I've had 2 clubs start online meetings after everybody else did because they saw it done and saw it done well.
Who was that speaking?
Jerome Taylor, I'm sorry.
I can't see you, Jerome.
This is Lisa. I echo that. I think it's a really good idea, and I think it would be helpful for us to have at someplace access to clubs that are meeting online so that people that want to visit and can visit because the club is open, that we make that available, because I think we have members that maybe in clubs that are struggling that want to go, and clubs that need visitors and all of those things. So I think a resource that allows everyone to know what's open, we should do it.
So the health check does show everyone who has a virtual meeting going. That's one quick reference.
Okay. Does the health check have on it who the contact is so that someone going there would be able to know how they get directly to that club to get the Zoom access?
Some clubs are listing their Zoom on their website. And at Oakland City Center, we've gotten guests. We've been getting guests and people are joining from that. I don't know if we recommend that though, because people have been known to Zoom bomb.
Well, that's why I think many of the clubs are not posting their Zoom, but asking, here's the contact so that if you want to go, here's how they get it.
Yeah. Most likely you're going to just need to talk to them about that.
I'm thinking out loud about this because I have 2 clubs that are currently not meeting in my area. And I'm wondering if on maybe an area by area or division by division basis, we might have a area pop-up Zoom meeting, just to say, hey, to all the membership, we're going to do a speak-a-thon meeting. If you've never done a Toastmaster Zoom meeting as a member, join and see how it goes. And I don't know if that would help or distract.
This is Lisa. I think it's a great idea, and I think it's a great idea for a number of reasons. I think it creates some synergy between an area or a division, and particularly as we're getting on to a new term with new leadership, it might be a great opportunity to kind of invite things like area councils and division councils that start seeing each other and having more connection.
I just would add to that. So I did see an email from Toastmasters International, didn't come from us. And they advised that, you mentioned speak-a-thons. They've advised that they don't really want like area directors, division directors in the district to organize speak-a-thons. And again, I think their concern is, hey, we want to crank out a bunch of speeches so this club can get to distinguish, so the area, the division, the district is distinguished. So they're kind of cautioning and against kind of district officers organizing these. I think it's okay to coordinate, right? Some, if you have a club, in your area or division that's doing a really good, successful online meeting, maybe having them kind of organize a broader, area-wide or division-wide meeting. I think it's okay to coordinate and connect people together. Just be aware to maybe have them do some of the work. And this could be like an HPL project, right, that somebody could be working towards as well, to organize, a division-wide, club meeting, right? That's organized at the club level. So I just wanted to kind of chime in there on that piece. That's what I've read, and I think that's what the reasoning is. And yes, online meetings, you can absolutely get guests. Steve Melman said that his club, Diablo Champagne, they had 20 people on their Zoom just yesterday, and they had 5 guests. 5 guests. All right, so there's no reason to think that you can't do open houses, you can't have guests coming to your meetings anymore. It is false. Not
Yeah,
the case.
there's a lot of background noise all of a sudden. My club, Oakland City Center, has had 2 people join, and actually 3 people join, and several guests almost every week, just from the link on the website. So it's also older members are rejoining because they moved just a few miles away and it wasn't convenient, but now they love the club and they want to join again. So there's plenty of opportunities right now to build membership.
Hi, this is Stephanie Stewart. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm actually joining from the car. I'm driving. I wanted to say one thing is we shouldn't assume, or maybe we can't assume, that clubs aren't only meeting because of technology. Some people are overwhelmed with the situation, maybe emotionally, or just having the time to go to a meeting. And one thing that we have been mentioning to people is another angle, which is true, that the Toastmasters meeting is kind of a timeout. And people can take the time to not worry about their homeschooling their kids and not worrying about being furloughed or laid off, but to have some face-to-face interaction and a dedicated time and a schedule to meet back up with their friends or to meet new friends and kind of forget about the pandemic. Another thing to think about is ask the why. Why aren't people meeting?
Love it. Absolutely. That is spot on, Stephanie. Thank you for sharing.
So I'm going to do it on the spot. Yeah, that's awesome, Stephanie. On the spot, if you have a really great club that you want to promote, I'll take on the challenge of making a little directory. So send them over. Send them to me, bet@d57tm.org.
All right. So I think, part of what we talked about, not just with online meetings, but is, you can still get guests to your meetings. Totally doable. And I know Bill Holsey, our open house chair, is on the line. Bill, are you still with us?
I sure am.
Yeah, why don't you share, take 2-3 minutes and talk a little bit, how has open house evolved? How should clubs be thinking differently about open houses? Share some thoughts with us.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Good morning, everyone, fellow Toastmasters. I really want to talk to you about the power of open houses. And I'm really pleased to talk about Wave 3. We're kicking off our open houses. We've already had 2 very successful Wave 1 and Wave 2, where we actually exceeded our goal of the number of open houses. And they went really, really well between the first part of the year and actually last year as well. But we want to really push for our next wave, Wave 3 of our open houses. Think of open houses as a fantastic way to really draw in new members, as well as bringing back and reclaiming members that you haven't seen in a while. So think of that tool and use it effectively. You want to really make sure that you understand how to use that, as well as the date between now and June 15th are the dates that we want to push for this Wave 3 for open houses. So keep that in mind. Remember, the primary reasons of having an open house is really to attract new members and reclaim members that you haven't seen in a while. Bring those folks back into the fold. And also, it's a way to collaborate with the clubs, making sure the clubs are working closely together, good teamwork, and they're helping to build the specific brand of their club, because every club has their own way of doing things and their own unique brand. So open houses are a fantastic way to strengthen and bolster the brand of the club. A couple of things to talk about really briefly are the difference between an online open house and a traditional open house. So when you're running an online open house, you really want to make sure that you're leveraging your advertising by online and all the online tools such as Meetup, Facebook, GroupMe, Instagram, Nextdoor, you name it, but Meetup and all those different types of tools that are very effective in bringing in members online. So you want to make sure you're leveraging those tools. Another thing to think about is coming up with an effective theme for your open house. That really helps to solidify in the members' minds what this open house is about. So think of a good, strong theme that you're working with your clubs, how you can help to promote the open house with your clubs. A couple of things to think about: bringing in former guests, former members, bringing in coworkers, past members. Those are just a couple of ideas, 3 or 4 ideas to think about a theme around your open house. You can make it into more of a party session, so it's really uplifting, so it's a really happy environment online to folks. For sure, you want to follow up with your attendees after an open house. That's critical. Follow-up is huge. So you don't just have an open house, but make sure you're following up with the guests that have attended. Make sure you email them an online membership form, making sure that you have the ability to pay your dues online quickly and easily, whether it's PayPal or whatever, but making sure there's a venue and a way to pay online their dues after they have their membership applications filled out, and email those, and then following up. How was open house? What was your impression? Making sure that they understand and the positive energy of an open house. And then you want to make the open house a fun environment. That's really critical. Making sure that it's fun so people have a fun time at the open house. Make it uplifting and fun and engaging so that they really understand the power and the fun and the energy of a great Toastmasters meeting. They get jazzed about it. Two things I wanted to mention that Kevin and I were talking about, as well as Bet had input as well, is a couple of incentives for open houses for our, as we're calling Wave 3 between now and, as we said, June 15th. Number one, on-house, gift certificates. So if you run an open house, you can earn up to $50 when you go to the TI website, and you can shop for different things. And that's $50 that can be used to your discretion for different types of things. The other thing is you can combine an open house along with your club officers' elections. So as you're having the elections and you're working with your clubs, you can combine that activity for electing the club officers with a great, effective, and fun open house. So you can get those, kind of think of that as 2 birds with 1 stone there, if you will. And there's a $60 per incentive for there too, for club officer pins, as well as those badges. So it's really a total of $120 that a club could potentially earn by running a good open house, as well as running your club officer elections. I'll pause there. Any questions?
Yeah, Bill, that's some good stuff. Remember we talked about like a thought of the day?
Yes, we thought about thought of the day.
A little bit about that.
Sure. So we thought about kicking off an open house meeting with a thought of the day. And that thought of the day could talk about what is it about Toastmasters that makes it great? What is it that brings you back into Toastmasters? And what we want to do is to capture those thought of the days, if you will, and upload those to YouTube or to a section that we can actually keep a repository of these great TODs. And we can use those, and we can have an incentive, an award for the best TOD. And we can offer I think we said, Kevin, a $30 gift certificate, or up to 30 people that can get up to $20 for their best thought of the day. And they can talk about what is it that makes Toastmasters unique for them, their great experiences. And we can share those amongst the clubs, those thoughts of the day. And they build some synergy around what is it that makes Toastmasters so great for you, what you've learned from Toastmasters, how you've benefited from Toastmasters. So as guests are coming in, they can see these great stories of the power and the great benefits of Toastmasters.
And especially right now, it's how has online meetings, online Toastmasters helped me?
Exactly.
Right? Like I do webinars for work. I have to do presentations for work. I still have one-on-ones with my manager through WebEx, through Zoom, right? Those are online activities and that you can really develop and hone in a Toastmasters meeting rather than figuring it out as you go. Some good ideas there, Bill. Thank you. All right, and we'll talk a little bit more about the incentives and some more depth and detail a little bit later. there's a question, should you post your Zoom link on your social media websites, on your club websites? We've been advising people to have a point of contact and to advertise that point of contact, right? Hey, we're having a Zoom meeting, we're meeting online, contact this person to get a link to the Zoom. That's what we've been advising people to do rather than posting the actual Zoom links online. I personally haven't heard of any Zoom bombing in our district or even amongst people I know, but that's what we've been advising people to do. Just have somebody that they can reach out to get that Zoom link. All right. Great. We've talked about, renewals and open houses and online meetings, pathways, and not just pathways. I think it's making sure that people are working towards their goals, whatever they are, as they wrap up the year, right? Maybe somebody's doing an OATM or a Triple Crown. Maybe they want to get, finish their Advanced Communicator Gold before the end of the year, or they're working towards a specific level. I think it's, making sure our club officers understand what their members are striving for and working towards that. So, people are working towards goals. Let's make sure they can reach them. And it's also, I think, newer members want to get started too on pathways. Janice, do you want to? I know I saw Janice Fairchild on the line earlier. Janice, you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you want to talk just for a minute or two about new members and how we get them involved and engaged with pathways? It's an issue we discussed at TLI, and I think that's ongoing, isn't it?
Yes. And we were looking at our metrics over last year compared to this year, and we've increased everywhere except for the new members. The new members last year on Pathways was a higher percentage than they are now. So we want to focus when we're reaching out to our clubs to focus to make sure that the new members are being mentored, that they are learning how to, so have someone walk them through doing Pathways. I'm trying to get a maybe a master class or some other Zoom class in smaller groups, maybe to do a pathway session so that we can get more members. Like we did earlier in the year, I did a session with George and not George, I forget his name. Anyway, I did a club earlier in the year, and I'm wondering if someone would like to do it or I can do it, a Pathways training, and just open it up to anyone who wants to come.
All right, the gauntlet's laid down. Who wants to work with Janice and do a webinar on Pathways training? Speak up now.
My hope was that some of the people that are in yesterday I did a session, no, Thursday, I did a session with the VPPs, and I outlined the VPPs that were doing the highest in their division. So they're on track for our winners right now. And so I was hoping that they could help out with the training. I just got a message, looks like Kate can do one. So Kate will help me. And then I was going to reach out to George, and he's been doing the scorecards on the District 57 website. And I was hoping he could update it now more frequently, maybe once a week as we get closer to the end of the year, so that people can see their scores updated more frequently.
Happy to do that, and I'll participate in any of the Pathways webinars where you need some help.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Janice. Hey, the other thing that always comes up, and I see this often, is a member is working through their levels, they're working through base camp, you know, things are getting approved. And then we always get surprises. We always get surprises at the end of the year. Hey, why don't we see this showing up on the dashboards? We're missing awards. We need to make sure that awards are submitted on Club Central. All right, if it's not on Club Central, it does not exist. Period. It doesn't exist. It's not recognized by the district. It's not recognized by Toastmasters International. All right, this happens all the time. And so as you're following up with your clubs during your visits, you might want to review, okay, who's earned an award that you've submitted already this year, and maybe compare it against the dashboard. You might find that some awards have not been submitted, or maybe just asking the question, hey, are you approving on Basecamp and submitting on Club Central? All right, it's going to be important in this last stretch to make sure everybody's recognized.
Kevin, this is Marissa.
Hi, Marissa, go ahead.
My clubs are having trouble with that, and specifically one club that apparently has lost getting the opportunity to get credit for a few awards because they're already past it now, the levels. But why is it that we have to go into both Pathways, Basecamp, and Club Central? It's really confusing people.
That's a good question. I'm happy to answer the question unless somebody else on the team wants to take it. All right, I'll answer the question. So it's about old technology. So Pathways and the software used to run Pathways is relatively new. But the database that Toastmasters use to track, here's all our members, here's the awards they've earned, is really old. In fact, it's like a almost 20-year-old custom home-built ERP, really old technology. And because one is really old and one is really new, they don't communicate with each other. It's a technology problem that I'm hoping is going to be addressed at some point in the future. Toastmasters, I know, is aware of this, but that's what it is. So I would only say, though, you know, if somebody has earned an award, but it hasn't been put into Club Central yet, even if it's something that happened last year, it should still, the person should still be recognized. It should still be put in the Club Central. So don't think because they've moved ahead, you know, level 3, level 4s, you know, or they did a competent leader last year and it hasn't been put in, it should still be put in. The person should still be recognized. All right, and we can talk about that in more detail separately if you'd like.
Okay, yeah, I'd like that because I am not a VPE, so I don't see what they see, but they're saying that they can't access the past levels anymore.
All right, and I've gotten a question, where is Club Central? All right, so why don't I actually show people where Club Central is? Let's do that. All right. And then I'm going to quickly show this, and then I want to introduce Kate to talk a little bit more about officer elections, club officer elections. Okay, here's Club Central. You log in. All right, you wait a little bit for the login to happen. You're going to hit Leadership Central. And you see District Central here. You actually click Club Central, and you're in. And here's an update that I will answer later. But this is where you need to be, and this is where you can submit education awards in Club Central. Right, where you literally select the member, select the award, and boom, you input it, and then it's in there. All right. Hopefully that was helpful. All right, the last thing is you kind of think about, you know, your area visits is elections. So we just had our district officer elections, but now it's time for clubs to step up and to elect their leaders. And Kate is doing some, putting a team together to do some fantastic work on that. So Kate, why don't you take a couple of minutes to talk a little bit about what you're doing.
Thank you, Kevin. So, fellow leaders, just when you thought you were grateful for the pandemic, if only it shut up that coverage, the news coverage on the US elections, right? But now here we are into the Toastmasters elections. Actually, identifying new officers and launching them into the next year is one of the fundamental ways that Toastmasters provides the leadership development. And if you think of your own journey, you know that's the case. Well, we're in virtual club meetings, and we know that they're the same, right? We got the agenda, we have the roles, but there's a twist. It's the same with elections, right? We're nominating people, we have a nominating committee, we're educating our members about the officer roles, we run an election, and then we post the names to Club Central. But there's a twist. So one of the twists with the online elections, because the pandemic shelter in place has been continued, so elections have to be held during an actual business meeting, an active business meeting, and the voting has to. So don't think you're going to do email before or after the election. It has to be done during the election. And the reason for that is because you need to have a quorum, you need to be able to record that, and so on. The other twist with an election meeting is you're going to need to have a technical host, someone running the election, the ballots and voting person, and then somebody to record it. So maybe you'll need an extra hand or two in the process than you normally would in a physical meeting. Another twist is that you need to have a way of voting that the club can go with. Now, most of you know, the clubs pretty much know about elections. Give them free rein. Don't be the election police on this, okay? But there will be some clubs that maybe need some guidance. Your new clubs, if their club mentor can do it, great. Otherwise, Zoom in. If this is their first time through elections, let's get them some help. The second one that we're going to need to focus in on, of course, is the clubs that are not having any kind of online meetings whatsoever. They're going to need some special coaching for virtual meetings and virtual elections. So we're going to zoom in on those. We have some resources coming to you. One of them is a short list. There are about 15 ways to vote online, as it turns out. But we don't want clubs to have to slog through all that crap. We want them to be able to just have, oh, here's some, some logical ways to do online voting and simply select a way and get on with their voting and not have to become technical wizards on which is the best election. So there's Google Forms, private chat, Survey Monkey, Election Buddy. So we want to just make it simple for them. The other thing we're going to be doing is an online or a webinar on elections, on how to do a mock election or an election so that your club will be in good standing or a good place to be starting the elections. Most clubs will probably have some sort of mock election so they can train the members on, how the voting will run, how floor nominations will run if there's a call for that. Some clubs are large and they have a lot of people running for each office, and some are smaller and maybe they just have a slate with one candidate each and the secretary casts a vote for the whole club. It'll vary. But again, area directors, we don't want you to be the election police. What we want you to do is to zero in on the clubs that need the online election help and the new clubs. I think it's going to be critical that we keep this thing moving so that all the elections take place in May. This gives you a long period for the transition between the old officers and new officers. They have great success. If all the officers are entered into Club Central by June 25th, that's your deadline, June 25th. Everything's moving slower with the virus pandemic. So what we need to do, everything's taking a little bit longer. So let's target June 25th for the deadline for entering in Club Central. It guarantees your clubs will have a point when they go into their new year, and it's a lovely thing to see that. So contact me if you have any questions. I think I'll go ahead and post my email, but we have some resources coming to you. Good luck with your elections. Thank you.
Kate, I have one quick question for you.
Sure.
One of the clubs in the area that I serve tried to turn their officers list in April, but I guess you can't do that until May.
Correct. You cannot.
Okay, I'll let them know. Thank you.
Yeah. No worries. Okay.
That's fantastic. And Kate's working with a team to put this together as part of an HPL.
Correct.
Which is very exciting. So we'll have more info to come. But yeah, this is another good question to ask during your visit. You know, how are you doing your elections? Do you have candidates for all the roles? Are you having trouble finding candidates? Do you know how you're going to actually do the voting? Those are all good questions to ask during.
Yeah, and also just a reminder to jump on what Janice was saying. If you do a panel discussion with your current officers to explain their roles, that's a Pathways project ready to happen. Don't ignore those opportunities.
All right. Thank you so much, Kate. Look, I think we've talked about, I think, a couple of really broad themes. We've talked about renewals, open houses, online meetings, pathways, club officer elections. These are all things that you really need to keep in mind as you're scheduling and communicating and working with your clubs, right? And scheduling your club visits and following up after your club visits with the club president and the vice president of education on how they're doing. Please do not email the club president and the VPE and ask them to fill out your report. Please do not do that. That is a terrible experience. And we really need to be having a dialogue, a conversation with empathy and understanding. All right, please don't do that. All right, it's 11:10. I wanted to move on with the agenda to hand things over to Beck to talk about succession, not just for club officers, but also for you as area directors and division directors and chairs. So Bets, I'll kick things over to you.
Thank you so much, Kevin. And I am so honored to have been elected as your new district director. I've dreamed of it since I was 5 years old when I first learned about the position. Just kidding, I was more like 22. So I'm super excited to be your district director. And I'm really excited about my team. George, Julie, Ed, Linda. These are just some of the people we have so far. Incredible caliber, really, really amazing. George and Julie and I spent 5 hours this week planning the year. We have TLI dates, we've got area director and division director training dates. We have plans, really big, awesome plans. Now it's not over though for a new team. We are missing an admin manager, logistics manager, and our Division G director. I've heard rumors that people want to be Division G, but until I see the paperwork, it's an open field. So there's opportunities to lead and grow and learn. And also, we have lots of area director positions. I am so excited about my division directors. Most of these people I've worked with extensively in the last year or a year before. So very excellent, incredible caliber of leaders this year. But like I mentioned, Division G is still open and lots of area directors are open. So I want to actually share the sheet of the roster so I can show you some of the spots that are in fact still available. And this is where I want you to take some action. So admin manager, logistics, these are critical roles that are still available. Lots of learning experience. And some of my area divisions have filled in their area directors, which I'm super proud of. Division A, congratulations. But until all the paperwork is in, you know, it's still fair game. Division B is doing halfway there. C, good job, C. You got your replacements in. D, we only have one so far, and actually two, sorry. We have two, missing two. So Division D, lots of opportunity. Work for Robin, Carolyn, very exciting. And E, we have two, missing two. F, wide open. Now, with virtual club visits, you could be in a different division. Also, San Ramon is, the Tri-Valley area is a beautiful place. This was my old division. Really great area, lots of great clubs there. So if you want to be an area director or you have a friend and they're like, oh, it's far away, remember virtual visits are easy. And it's not actually a bad drive if you live in the Oakland area to get over to the Tri-Valley F area. Paul is here for G10. We still have some spots in G. So opportunity. And I and H are completely filled. Now, if there's people who wanted to get into one of these really robust divisions and they couldn't get it, we can slot them in a different area. Remember that some of these areas are bordering on each other, maybe not G, but it is possible to be a area director for an area that you don't actually live in. So keep your mind open and be creative.
And Bet, I'd only add, as you kind of went through that report, it's only the ones that are in white. Those are the only ones that are confirmed. Anything else in the orange, those are just suggested names. But those people have not accepted they may not even had a conversation yet. So I think there's still lots of room to fill roles, Bet.
Lots of opportunity to grow. So our motto for the coming year is building community through growth. So as we're all remote and as we're separated, our Toastmaster family, our community is so important. And this is going to be a message that we're going to put out through marketing. We're going to have people talk about it in their thought of the day. It's really critical for us to come together as a community. And it's not just a community to like drink. We're here to grow. So that's growing our skills through education. It's growing through leadership roles and growing new clubs. And that's going to be a really interesting challenge as even we move into maybe a hybrid situation where people are half online and half working, and there's weird alternate days that people can go to the office. There's going to be it's a whole new world. I think this virtual stuff is here to stay, and we need to be good at it. So we're building community so that we're together even if we have to be separate. And we're actually keeping the same values, fun, recognition, and community, because we really like those. So now it's time to think about you as an area director. Where is your successor? Do you have one? I'm really excited about the ones who worked on filling it, but not all those names are confirmed, right? So please go out there and recruit, find your successor. And I have really an important reminder here. Remember, someone took the chance on you at one time. They may have looked at you and said, like, this person doesn't have the skills yet. They don't have them yet. But you know what? They took a chance on you. They may have been the person who tapped on you to be a new club officer or run for president or become an area director and then finally division director. But they took a chance on you, and you probably did not have the skills at that time. So were they responsible to say, oh, you should step into area director? Probably not. But this is a chance, and you stepped in, and you're now doing a great job. So I would say, take a chance on somebody, even if they don't have all the skills. Don't say like, oh, they're just too shy. It's okay. Encourage them. They'll blossom with your mentorship. So I really want to recommend everyone to look for your successor. Send me the names and nominate them through the website. I'll post it in the chat. We really need to fill all these roles, and we have incredible programs set up. Julie, George, and I are going to make really engaging area director training. It's just, we've been building on success every year, and I'm so thankful to everything Kevin has put in place, and we're just going to build on that and make it even better and more organized and more fun. really lean into the fun this year. All right, that's all I got. Kevin, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. And I think we have just a couple minutes. We're gonna finish on time. That is our goal today. And we wanted to give just a couple of minutes. Do we want George and Julie to say anything? Is that what's next on the agenda? Correct me if I'm wrong.
They asked me to just go ahead and cover everything for them because they each had already speaking roles.
Oh, all right. That's one thing less than to dive into. Okay. Let's talk about incentives quickly. I'm going to share my screen. All right. All right. Incentives. There we go. Where can you find the incentives and awards and things on our website? All right. So if you go look under member resources, you can find all different types of membership awards and recognition here. So this is things like the Triple Crown Award, the OATM Award, and we're also going to be putting some information here on our on this Thought of the Day piece where we're doing a bit of a member award and incentive. And we're also going to have, I think, some information on the newsletter here as well, because we're doing a newsletter contest. So all this information on member awards and recognition, it is available all here. And some of you may be wondering, well, how are we going to recognize our members when they achieve excellence, when they experience excellence and have some of these awards? Because we don't have a conference that's coming up this year. So our plan is to incorporate recognition into some of our upcoming events. So for example, we have our evaluation speech contest on Friday, May 15th, our international speech contest on Friday, May 22nd. We also have a webinar. Our keynote speaker from the conference, William Hung, is going to be doing a webinar for all of our members in our district. That I believe is on May 30th. We plan to incorporate recognition during these events. So we do plan to recognize OATMs and Triple Crowns and DTMs through these events. All right. We're still working out if, how exactly we're going to do it, right? Do we do all the Triple Crowns on one event, all the DTMs on another event? We're still working through some of those details, and we're going to be coordinating with William Wilson, our awards chair, on that. But recognition is important, and we do plan to do it. All right. So make sure, that your clubs are aware of that they should still be submitting these things because we do intend to recognize excellence. So that's membership awards. The other area that I wanted to focus in on is our club awards and incentives. And I talked a little bit about this during the business meeting. And I really wanted to quickly go through some of them. It's all written down here, so you can go back, you can find it yourself, and you can read through this yourself. But just look at this. All right, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We are currently planning to run 8 incentives between now and the end of the year. 8 incentives and awards. All right, there's a lot going on and a lot of things available. Let's talk about what some of these are. So we have the hashtag D57 online incentive. This is where we want our clubs who are meeting online to simply send us a screenshot of their online meeting. All right, and let's do one of ourselves. Let's do one of those right now for our own DECM. All right, everybody turn your video on if you got it. We're gonna do this right now. Oh man, look at all these fantastic Toastmasters filling up my screen. All right, and I know we're gonna get to a page 2, right? Yes, we're on page 2. Fantastic. All right, everybody wave. I'm going to page 2, keep waving. All right, awesome. Boom, that's it. That's what we're asking clubs to do, to just get everybody on with their videos on and have everybody waving or do a goofy face. Everybody do a goofy face. All right. Have fun with it, right? And, we're not asking for one thing in particular. You can have a little bit of fun with it, okay? But that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to encourage people to do online meetings, show us how they're having fun. If your club literally does that, takes a screenshot and emails it to us with your club name, where to send the gift certificate, boom, we'll get it over to you. So just trying to drive people having fun and doing their online meetings. We spoke about this thought of the day. All right, so we want clubs and our members to do thoughts of the day, especially during their open houses. Take 1 to 2 minutes and have one of your club members talk about how the online Toastmasters meeting experience, the online experience has helped them, right? It's helped me because I'm better able to manage webinars. Right? It's helped me because I just ran a business meeting and I know how to facilitate and work with people online, right? We want to share these 1 to 2 minute thought of the day videos. And if you do have a member who records a video, they're going to get a $25 Amazon gift card. All right? A 1 to 2 minute thought of the day speech. Get us the video. There's some instructions here on how to record and get us that video. And we have about 30 of these available. All right. It is meant for our members, so and we'll have a little bit more information. This will get sent out later today. All right. Very exciting online thought of the day. We've got online open house incentives, right? So you can earn gift certificates, $50 in gift certificates for running an open house. Boom. Nothing complicated about that. And we're going to have more information on how, some ideas that Bill talked about on, how to do an online open house, how it's different, how to incorporate themes, a thought of the day. We're going to have more information on that. We've got right here your elect to experience excellence incentive. So we want our clubs to do their officer elections. Kate has suggested June 25th. As the time to get that, the deadline to get that in. But really, we really want clubs doing their elections really in May. So elect your officers, get your club list in before May 31st. We'll give you a set of club officer name badges or a set of officer pins. All right, just for getting those elections done. All right. Venkat did a fantastic webinar on club newsletters to inform and engage with your members. And so we are running a club newsletter contest. So the first place winner for their newsletter will get 100 in gift certificates, 75 and 50, plus the newsletter editor in each of these clubs in first, second, and third place is also going to get an Amazon gift card. All right, so newsletters, incredible way to engage with your members. We're not done yet. We've got our excellence in branding. We still know of some clubs that are they only have their old yellow banner. All right, we've got tons of banners and things to update your brand for when we get back to meeting online. So there's an incentive to replace that banner. We're not done yet. Almost there though. We've got new member madness. We started this in March, and we're basically extending this to June 15th. For every new member, net new member, never were in Toastmasters, now they are. For every new member your club adds before the end of the year, you're going to get $10 in gift certificates for each of those new members. All right. It's things like getting ribbons and evaluation forms and other things to help run your meeting. And of course, we still have our excellence awards. And William Wilson, our awards chair, is going to be calculating some of these and communicating with clubs who have earned those very shortly. All right, so tons of incentives for our clubs to learn all around driving adoption of online meetings, doing open houses, doing their elections, adding new members. Those are all the things that we really want clubs to be doing through the end of the year. All right. We're going to send an email out with all those incentives later today. So if you have questions, please ask. Please ask. And I'm going to stay on after our DECM finishes in 2 minutes, and we can talk more about them. I'll leave you here with, where to focus the next 30 days. I know focus is always good. We've got club visits and club health checks. We need to be reaching out and communicating with our clubs about how our members are doing individually and their families, how they're doing in the Toastmasters world. We need to be leading with empathy and understanding. All right, that's the tone we need to take, because some people are doing well, but other people are struggling. Some people have lost jobs, family members and people are sick. They're struggling with the anxiety of shelter in place. We need to strike the right tone. As you're doing your club visits and your health checks, you're working collaboratively with your club presidents and your VPEs to understand how they're doing with renewals. How many more members do they need to become distinguished? Who's working towards what goals and objectives? Do you have people working towards their DTMs, their triple crowns? What awards do they need to be distinguished? Those are things to be talking about and asking about with them and having a conversation, not asking them to fill in your paperwork for them. Let's make sure our clubs are meeting online. We'll support them as best we can to get them online. We do have some exciting updates on Zoom. We're adding some more Zoom accounts and plan to give clubs access to shut down club meetings that may be interfering because people are logging in when they're not supposed to be, so that people can run polls during their Zoom meetings. So we have some updates coming on Zoom, hopefully next week. And obviously, elections and succession, we want our clubs thinking about electing their officers. You want to think about finding your successors going into next year. All right, so club visits, health checks, what's the path to excellence for our clubs and how can we support them in that? That's really our focus in the next 30 days. We'll have a date for our next DECM in the next week or two, based on whether we think we're going to be meeting online or in person in June. But hopefully that gives you a little bit of areas to focus. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today, this Saturday morning. I wish you all, good health. Take care of yourself physically and emotionally. Thank you for all that you do to check in on our clubs and our members to make sure they're also healthy and doing well. We really appreciate all your help and support to help all of our members, to help all of our clubs, all of our officers experience excellence. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'll let you all jump off. And if you have any questions, I'm going to hang around for a while and a little post toasties. And we'll certainly get this recording out a little bit later today to everybody in case they weren't able to make it. Thank you all.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Kevin.
All right, I got a question from Mark Ventura, who's already left, about contests. We are doing our district contest on May 15th, the evaluation contest, and the international speeches on May 22nd. So those are coming up. And yes, we're going to keep you updated on recognition, who's getting recognized when. And we're going to let award winners know that. We're going to make sure club officers and the district officers know that too. All right. Any other questions? I cleared the questions on chat. Or do some people just want to hang out?
We just love being on Zoom, Kevin. Just want to be here.
Yeah, just walk down the beach.
And Brett and Kevin, I got just a quick thought here.
Yeah, fire away.
Just saw.
Who's speaking?
Stop the recording.
Oh, hey, Greg.
I just saw that